Hello, fellow numismatists and treasure hunters. Today we're diving into something that might be hiding in your pocket change right now. While everyone's chasing buffalo nickels and mercury dimes, there's incredible value sitting in plain sight. Modern pennies that are worth hundreds, even thousands of times their face value. I'm talking about three seemingly ordinary Lincoln cents from 1985, 1996, and 2001 that could quite literally be worth their weight in gold, or much more. These aren't your grandfather's rare coins. These are modern treasures that flew under the radar while everyone was looking elsewhere. Let's uncover what makes these particular pennies so special and why seasoned collectors are quietly snatching them up whenever they appear. Our journey begins in 1985, a year that produced one of the most significant double-die errors of the modern era. The 1985 double-die obverse Lincoln cent might look ordinary at first glance, but a closer inspection reveals something extraordinary. The story of this penny begins at the Philadelphia Mint during a particularly busy production year. The United States was experiencing economic growth, and the demand for circulating coinage was high. Mint employees were working around the clock, and in the rush to meet production quotas, quality control occasionally suffered. This is precisely how the 1985 double-die obverse penny was born. What exactly is a double die? It's a minting error that occurs during the hub and die preparation process. The die that stamps the design onto blank planchets is made by pressing a hub, which bears the positive image, into a piece of soft steel multiple times. If there's slight misalignment between impressions, the resulting die carries a doubled image. When this die is used to strike coins, every single one shows the doubling. The 1985 DDO penny shows prominent doubling on the obverse, head side, particularly visible in the word Liberty and the date. Under magnification, you'll see a clear second impression of these elements, slightly offset from the primary image. It's most noticeable in the L and B of Liberty, where the serifs appear to have ghostly companions. What makes this coin particularly fascinating is that it wasn't discovered until several years after it entered circulation. Unlike some famous errors that were caught quickly, thousands of these pennies were distributed to banks and businesses across the country before collectors recognized their significance. This means many examples have been found in circulation, sometimes by lucky individuals who happened to check their change carefully. The market value of the 1985 DDO cent varies dramatically based on condition. In circulated grades, even with visible wear, these pennies command $200 to $300. Move up to uncirculated examples, and the price jumps to $400 to $600 for coins graded MS 63, mint state 63. For premium examples in MS 65 or higher, prices can exceed $1,000. The record auction price for a perfect MS 67 example reached $3,800 in 2018. Not bad for a coin with a face value of 1 cent. One particularly fascinating aspect of the 1985 DDO cent is its relative scarcity compared to other famous double dies. While the 1955 and 1972 double die cents might be more well-known, the 1985 variety is actually rarer, with an estimated 10,000 to 15,000 examples produced. This relative scarcity, combined with growing collector awareness, has driven steady price appreciation over the past decade. The condition is absolutely crucial when it comes to this error, because the doubling is subtle compared to some other double dies. High-grade examples where the doubling is crisp and clear command significant premiums. Even the difference between an MS 64 and MS 65 can mean hundreds of dollars in value. There's a fascinating story about one of these pennies that circulated in a small town in Nebraska for nearly 20 years before being discovered. A local coin dealer was buying bulk pennies from a bank when he noticed the distinctive doubling on one coin. Tracing its history, he discovered it had been used at the same grocery store multiple times over the years, passing through countless hands before someone finally recognized its value. It was eventually sold for $450 despite showing significant wear, a 45,000% return on investment. Another interesting aspect of the 1985 DDO cent is that it's becoming something of a gateway error for new collectors. Because it's relatively recent and can still be found in circulation with careful searching, it's often one of the first significant errors that newcomers to the hobby discover. This has created a growing community of penny searchers, who specifically hunt for these and other valuable modern cents. When examining your own pennies, don't be fooled by machine doubling, which is a different phenomenon altogether. True hub-and-die doubling shows separation in the raised elements of the design, while machine doubling, also called strike doubling, typically appears as a shelf or step-like feature. The 1985 DDO shows classic hub-and-die doubling characteristics, with the secondary image clearly separated from the primary one. For those hunting this variety, I recommend using at least a 10x loop or magnifier, as the doubling can be subtle in worn examples. Focus on the word liberty first, as this is where the doubling is most prominent. If you spot potential doubling there, then check the date for confirmation. Remember that proper lighting is crucial. A directional light source at an angle often reveals doubling that might be missed under direct illumination. What's particularly exciting about the 1985 DDO cent is that it represents a key transitional period in U.S. coinage. The mid-1980s saw the mint experimenting with copper-plated zinc planchets, introduced in 1982, while still refining their production techniques. This transitional period produced several interesting varieties, with the 1985 DDO being perhaps the most significant. Now, let's turn our attention to another modern penny treasure, the 1996 double-die obverse Lincoln cent. While the 1985 DDO might get more attention in collector circles, this 1996 variety has quietly become one of the most valuable modern-era coins, sometimes hiding in plain sight in pocket change and penny jars across America. The story of the 1996 DDO cent begins during a period of intense production at the Philadelphia Mint. The mid-1990s saw high demand for circulating coinage, and the mint was operating near capacity. During this high-pressure environment, another significant double-die era occurred, but with some fascinating differences from its 1985 predecessor. The doubling on the 1996 cent is most prominent on the obverse, particularly in the inscriptions. When examined under magnification, you'll notice distinct doubling on the word liberty and in the motto, "In God We Trust." What makes this doubling special is its rotation. Numismatists classify this as a Class 1 rotated double die, where the secondary image appears slightly rotated compared to the primary one. This gives the letters an almost three-dimensional appearance that's unmistakable once you know what to look for. The doubling is especially pronounced in the letters B, E, and R in liberty, showing clear separation between the primary and secondary impressions. In God We Trust, the doubling is particularly visible in God and trust, with the secondary elements appearing slightly lower and to the right of the primary elements. What's particularly fascinating about the 1996 DDO cent is how it remained relatively unknown to the collecting community until around 1999. By this time, millions of these cents had already entered circulation, with most people completely unaware of their potential value. This delayed discovery meant that many examples were lost to circulation where or sitting unrecognized in change jars and coin rolls. When we talk about market value, this is where the 1996 DDO gets particularly interesting. Unlike many modern errors that command modest premiums, this penny has seen extraordinary price growth. In circulated condition, these cents typically sell for $50 to $75, depending on where. But in uncirculated grades, the price escalates dramatically. MS 63 examples regularly fetch $250 to $350, while premium MS 65 specimens can command $500 to $700. For the finest known examples in MS 67 or better, prices have exceeded $3,000 at major auctions. One of the most remarkable auction results occurred in 2018, when an extraordinarily well-preserved MS 67 Plus example, showing perfect surfaces and full mint luster, sold for an astonishing $4,100, making it one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever sold. This represents an extraordinary return on a 1-cent investment. Unlike the 1985 variety, the 1996 DDO has a more precisely estimated mintage. Numismatic researchers believe approximately 40,000 to 50,000 examples were struck before the error was detected, making it roughly 3 times more common than the 1985 DDO. However, since many were released into circulation before discovery, finding high-grade examples remains challenging. The condition spectrum for this coin tells an interesting story about modern collecting. In grades below MS 63, prices increase gradually. But above MS 64, each grade point can mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars in additional value. This exponential value curve reflects both the scarcity of pristine examples and the intense competition among registry set collectors seeking the finest known specimens. There's a particularly fascinating story about a roll of these pennies discovered in 2002. A bank teller in Ohio, who was also a casual coin collector, noticed unusual doubling on a penny while counting out change. Upon closer inspection, she realized it matched the 1996 DDO variety she'd read about. She immediately purchased several rolls of 1996 cents from her bank's inventory and incredibly found 11 more examples in uncirculated condition. These coins, which cost her 50 cents to acquire, were later professionally graded and sold for over $3,000 collectively. Another interesting aspect of the 1996 DDO is its regional distribution pattern. Numismatic research has shown that these error cents were not evenly distributed nationwide. Instead, they appeared in greater concentrations in certain Midwestern and Eastern states, particularly in parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. This uneven distribution created hot spots, where collectors had better chances of finding them in circulation, leading to local, penny-searching clubs focused specifically on hunting these valuable errors. The 1996 DDO also represents an important moment in numismatic research. It was one of the first major double-die varieties to be extensively documented online through emerging coin collecting forums and websites in the late 1990s. This digital documentation helped spread awareness and authenticated examples far more quickly than would have been possible in previous decades. For collectors seeking this variety, authentication can be tricky as there are several minor double dies from 1996 that show much less significant doubling. The true 1996 DDO, cataloged as FS 101, shows dramatic doubling that's visible even to the naked eye once you know what to look for. Under magnification, there should be no doubt the separation between the primary and secondary elements is substantial and unmistakable. When examining potential 1996 DDOs, pay particular attention to the serifs in the letters of liberty. The serifs should show clear separation, almost appearing as if they have shadows. Be wary of coins showing only slight thickening of the letters, as these may be more common minor varieties or examples of machine doubling rather than the valuable FS 101 variety. The metallic composition of the 1996 cent also plays a role in its preservation. Being copper-plated zinc, rather than the solid copper composition used before 1982, these cents are more susceptible to environmental damage if improperly stored. The finest examples have been preserved since the time of minting, often by collectors who recognize their significance early on or by sheer luck in ideal storage conditions. What continues to excite collectors about the 1996 DDO is the genuine possibility of finding examples in circulation even today. While the odds have diminished over the past 25-plus years, these coins do still turn up in penny rolls and change occasionally. This treasure hunt aspect keeps interest high and contributes to the coin's mystique and desirability among both serious numismatists and casual collectors. As we move into the 21st century, our final treasure might be the most surprising of all, the 2001 Lincoln cent. Not just any 2001 penny, mind you, but a specific variety that's become known as the close AM reverse. This particular coin highlights how even the smallest design modifications can create extraordinary value in modern coinage. The story behind the 2001 close AM cent involves a fascinating transition in die preparation at the U.S. Mint. In 1992, the Mint modified the reverse design of the Lincoln cent, subtly changing the spacing between the letters A and M in America. On the new design intended for circulation strikes, these letters were positioned slightly farther apart, what collectors call the wide AM variety. Meanwhile, proof coins were designed with the letters closer together, the close AM variety. What makes the 2001 close AM cent so valuable is that it represents a die pairing that wasn't supposed to exist. Somehow, A reverse die intended for proof production was mistakenly used to strike circulation coins at the Denver Mint. This created a distinctive mismatch, regular circulation strikes bearing the proof-only close AM reverse design. It's a case of the wrong die being used in regular production, creating an instantly collectible rarity. Identifying this variety requires close examination of the reverse. Under magnification, look at the letters A and M in America. On the standard 2001 circulation strikes, there should be a clear gap between these letters, the wide AM variety. On the valuable close AM error, these letters appear to almost touch, with minimal space between them. Additionally, the designer's initials, FG, for Frank Gasparo, on the right side of the Lincoln Memorial appears slightly closer to the building on the close AM variety. Another diagnostic feature involves the lettering of United States of America. On the close AM variety, the lettering appears slightly thicker and more defined compared to regular issues. These subtle differences create a coin that might look ordinary to the casual observer but represents a significant minting anomaly to the informed collector. The market value of the 2001 D-Close AM cent is nothing short of remarkable for a modern coin. Even in circulated condition, confirmed examples regularly sell for $200 to $300. In uncirculated condition, the prices escalate dramatically. MS 63 examples typically command $500 to $700, while premium MS 65 specimens have sold for $1,000 to $1,500. The finest known examples, graded MS 67 or better, have reached auction prices exceeding $5,000, an extraordinary sum for a coin minted in the 21st century. What makes these values even more impressive is the coin's relative newness. Unlike classic rarities that have had decades or centuries to appreciate, the 2001 D-Close AM has established its premium value in just over 2 decades. This rapid price appreciation underscores the enthusiasm collectors have for significant modern varieties. The exact mintage of the 2001 D-Close AM cent remains unknown, but numismatic researchers estimate that perhaps only 15,000 to 25,000 examples were struck before the error was corrected. When you consider that the Denver Mint produced over 5 billion cents in 2001, this represents an extraordinarily small fraction, roughly 0.0005% of the year's production. This scarcity, combined with the challenge of identifying such a subtle variety, makes finding one a genuine numismatic achievement. There's a fascinating story about the discovery of this variety that highlights how the collecting community works together. The first 2001 D-Close AM cent was identified by a collector in Minnesota in 2002, who noticed the unusual spacing while examining rolls of uncirculated cents. Rather than immediately selling his discovery, he shared images on online coin forums, allowing experts to verify the find and alerting other collectors to search their own holdings. This collaborative approach helped establish the variety's legitimacy and aided in determining its true scarcity. Another collector in Texas reports finding 3 examples in a single bankroll in 2007, all in uncirculated condition. He had been specifically searching for this variety after reading about it, examining thousands of 2001 D cents before his persistence paid off. He later sold 2 of the coins for enough money to fund his son's first semester of college tuition, a remarkable return on a $25 box of pennies. The condition factor for the 2001 D-Close AM cent presents an interesting dynamic. Since these coins entered circulation before the variety was widely recognized, many examples show typical wear and contact marks. However, because the year 2001 is relatively recent, many people set aside rolls and bags of uncirculated coins from that year as souvenirs of the new millennium. These preserved rolls have yielded some of the finest known specimens as collectors have searched through them in the years since. For those hunting this variety, strong magnification is essential. A 10x loupe is the absolute minimum, with 16x or 20x magnification preferable for confirming the diagnostic features. Good lighting is crucial too. Angled lighting that creates shadows can help reveal the subtle differences in letter spacing and positioning that define this variety. One particularly interesting aspect of the 2001 D-Close AM cent is its significance to die study researchers. The appearance of this error provides important insights into mint operations during a period of technological transition. The early 2000s saw the mint implementing new die manufacturing processes, and errors like this help document how those transitions occurred. Some researchers believe this mistake happened during a period when the mint was producing both 2001 dated proof dies and preparing for the upcoming 2002 production year. The 2001 D-Close AM cent also highlights an important lesson for collectors. Knowledge is often more valuable than the rarity itself. Thousands of these coins likely passed through commerce unrecognized, with only informed collectors able to spot and preserve them. This knowledge premium continues to be one of the most exciting aspects of numismatics. The idea that education and careful observation can quite literally turn pocket change into treasure. Authentication is particularly important with this variety, as the differences are subtle enough that confusion with regular issues is possible. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified hundreds of genuine examples, and their expertise is valuable for confirming authentic specimens. That said, the diagnostic features are consistent enough that a well-informed collector with proper magnification can make preliminary identifications with confidence. So there you have it, 3 seemingly ordinary Lincoln cents that could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars each. The 1985 double die with its clearly visible doubling in Liberty, the 1996 double die with its rotated secondary images, and the 2001 D-Close AM with its proof reverse on a circulation coin. Each represents a fascinating chapter in modern minting history. What makes these coins particularly exciting is that they're all relatively recent issues that entered circulation in significant numbers before their true value was recognized. Unlike classic rarities locked away in collections for generations, these modern treasures have been hiding in plain sight, passing through cash registers, sitting in penny jars, and mingling with ordinary change for years. This really drives home one of the most wonderful aspects of coin collecting, the knowledge advantage. An informed collector with a good loupe and some patience can still find treasures that others miss entirely. So before you cash in those penny rolls or dump that change jar at the Coinstar machine, you might want to take a closer look at your cents from 1985, 1996, and 2001. You never know when 1 cent might turn into thousands. Until next time, happy hunting, and remember, sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones hiding in plain sight.